What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding, what else. But we are going to do a Q&A today, one that I promised for a while, and I asked you to ask me some questions down below a YouTube video, and I picked also some questions from Instagram, combined the best ones that I think give the most information, and I will answer them right now. I'll try to answer them a little more short compared to usual because I don't want to make this a very long video, so I'll give that a shot. Anyway, let's start out with the first question by RM. Definitely will go again to the body power. Q&A, is there any chance to see Kane next year at the expo? I suspect that could bring some more people to see you guys. Well, I think that's a very important question because Vintage Genetics was originally thought about as me and Kane having those genetics, because both of us have always been training together and we've made similar gains, pretty much been both as strong as each other, made similar muscle gain, similar muscle shape. So if you guys want to see Kane at the Body Power Expo or other expos throughout the world and on the Vintage Genetics channel, then message him on Instagram at Kane Vissers. Check out the description box to see his Instagram tag literally, but make sure to DM him and tell him that you want to see him in the videos, and that will surely motivate him to be there once again consistently. Next question by Surrender. How are you planning to improve your conditioning? Well, of course, a lot of people are talking about the conditioning. However, at the Arnold Classic, which I'm showing a clip right here, the conditioning was pretty good in my opinion. Of course, conditioning can always be better. There could be more definition in the glutes, in the hamstrings, for example, but mostly everything was pretty much very conditioned. So how will I improve it? By starting out the prep even sooner, by cutting down the carbs even sooner. That's pretty much all you can do, because the rest has most to do with peaking the correct way. And I do think I peaked quite nicely last time, except for a little layer of water, which will be 100% taken care of next time, because now we know exactly what the cause was, water and salt manipulation wise. But that was just a minor thing. The major thing is getting rid of any excess fat, because that you cannot do away with in a peak week. That has to be gone, otherwise it will always show. So I will start earlier with the prep. For example, normally I would start 16 weeks out, now I would start 20 weeks out with lowering the carbohydrates, and also not upping the cardio per se, but making sure that I do more consistent cardio from the beginning until the end, instead of ramping it up at the very end to preserve some muscle mass. So that's my plan. Next question by Carlo121 Fitness. I am 18 and I've been cutting for some time. I'm fairly lean, 87 kilograms at 6'4", which is pretty tall. Now I am starting to lose strength, and it's mainly on pushing movements. Have I gone too far, as I feel significantly weaker in my upper body, but my legs still feel nice and strong? Well, first of all, the legs or the upper body, some people are more genetically predisposed to be stronger in one or the other. But since you are 6'4", being strong in the lower body is pretty rare, but it's good that you still are. In my opinion, if you lose strength significantly when cutting, you are either way too low in calories, too low in protein, or you're not recovering fast enough. So either check out how frequent you're working out, if your workout volume isn't too high for the calories you're taking in, or if you're cutting too fast, because if you lose, for example, more than a pound a week, and naturally, for example, then you might be cutting too quickly, especially when you're at the end of the cut. It should stay pretty stable, your weight, but you should see a little more conditioning here and there, instead of losing weight rapidly, because then you cannot prevent muscle and strength being lost. Next question by Shitpoop. Okay, what type of music do you listen to when working out? Honestly, I always listen to metal, a lot of different kinds of metal. I like the modern metal more than the classic metal, but I do sometimes listen to Metallica, which I have on this gym on the main speakers. I still like Linkin Park, Disturbed, bands like that, but also Asking Alexandria, A Day to Remember, Bullet for My Valentine, and some more intense bands that I do not know the name of, but I listen to one or two songs of those as well. Just a mix of nice and heavy metal. Next question by Roshan Kumar. Vintage Genetics, I'm your big fan from India. I appreciate that. And I wanted to ask you how to train for a beginner. Can you please answer this? Well, since so many people always ask this question, no matter when I do a Q&A, no matter how many times I answer it, I always say the same thing. It won't be a long answer, but it's stick to the basics. Do not overcomplicate things. The first at least 5 years that I was training, from age 14 to 19, I always did 3 simple compound movements for every body part. For example, the back was a lat pull down, a V-bar or a narrow bar pull down, and a seated row. And then I did 3 bicep exercises. For the chest, it was the double press or the bench press, the incline bench press, and the cable or dumbbell flies. With those 3 exercises, make sure to get stronger on them as much as possible with correct form. So the last set, if you're able to do 6 reps with 225 on the bench press, next time try to hit 6 reps with 230 or 235, for example. Try to get stronger on the basics first, and that's the true way to gain muscle as a beginner, along with your nutrition, which should be at least 1 to 1.2 pounds, grams per pound of body weight, in my opinion, for a beginner, and it will increase the more muscle you have, but that's for more experienced bodybuilders. Next question by Joel Walwork. How much larger do you want to build your legs? I'm gonna be training them as hard as possible, so they will grow in size, but they genetically simply won't grow so fast that one day I wake up with legs that are out of proportion with my upper body. Because I have a pretty strong upper body, pretty full upper body, especially when I have a pump. It's very difficult for my legs to actually overcome the fullness in my upper body. So they will grow in size, they will get a nicer sweep to them, more 3D effect in the hamstrings, more inner thigh to get a more complete look, but they will never be tree trunk legs, because that is simply not the way that I am bodybuilding. I'm a classic bodybuilder, so I will make them in proportion to the upper body. They have improved quite a lot already, especially the hamstrings, but they will never be incredibly big, but they will be big enough to challenge the number 1. Next question by Connor McCary. Do you plan on keeping your body fat relatively low during your off season, or will you prioritize size over shape? I will gain as much size as possible, as fast as possible, in the most responsible and efficient way. And what do I mean by that? I simply won't go over 10% body fat. Right now I'm around 8%. Of course, there's a little shadow here. You can't really tell, but here you can see a couple of fibers. So this is pretty much, I'm around 8% right now. Pretty much the maximum that I'll be going, to a max of 9 or 10%. Going anything above that will only yield fat gains, which you eventually will have to burn off. And if it takes you 1 extra month to burn off that fat, that decreases your building time with 1 month as well. So that 1 month will be wasted instead if you could have used it to build more lean muscle. So I will stay around this body fat percentage and build as much muscle as possible without gaining fat in the process. So that's my plan. Next question by Classic Athletics. Best exercise for round delts. To be short, the side dumbbell lateral raise to get a round delt from the side, and the reverse dumbbell fly on the bench to really get a nice rear delt action, to get nice round delts, to be nice in proportion. And of course, also don't forget to decrease the frequency of doing front lateral raise, because you can see, even for me, I never really train the front delt separately, but this is still the mass that they have, and the rear delts need to be in balance with the front in order to prevent injuries of the shoulder. So the side dumbbell arrow raise with high volume and the reverse dumbbell flies are great for round delts, two great isolation exercises. And another question is, do you think that counting macros is extremely important when not competing, as long as I'm getting enough protein and good amount of carbs throughout the day? You mentioned protein and carbs, but also very important are the fats. Without healthy fats, your body literally cannot build the hormones responsible for building muscle, also known as testosterone. And that's not the only hormone it builds, but that's pretty much the most important one to bodybuilders. So if you're not taking in the healthy fats as well, which you have to know the good food sources of, like Nordic salmon or nuts, avocado, olive oil, sources like that will be great for adding to your diet. So if you have knowledge about what foods to eat in every meal, and you know the portion size that you need so you gain muscle without the extra fat, then you don't have to count it. I actually, for a month or two before making this video, after the Arnold Classic, actually, I didn't really count my macros. I basically did it on feel, because I've of course been bodybuilding for like 12 years right now. Yeah, 12 years. So that does give me some experience in knowing how big the portion should be, and I weigh myself every single day as well. So if you are conscious about what you're doing, then you don't have to count the macros. But if you want to be exact and track your progress to the T, then you have to track your macros to get an idea of what the best thing for you should be. Next question by Fake. Is the gym you train in your own personal gym? Well, right here, let's switch the camera right there. That's the gym. Through that door, this is actually the office that we are working at. This part of the office is where I work at, and the other side is where my girlfriend Marley works at. And she is the official owner of the gym, but it's an amazing bodybuilding / CrossFit gym. You can do any single workout that you want to do here. Every single time we invest in new equipment, we have dumbbells from 2.5 to 70 kilograms in steps of 2.5 kilograms in between each dumbbell. We've got over 30 barbells, every single type of barbell, every single type of grip. I will soon make an introduction video of this gym, just a quick tour, how it's really set up here, but I'm very happy that we're able to have the gym of our own. Next question by the Vent Journal. Do you ever plan on making a female Vintage Genetics clothing line? Well, as you guys know, on vintagegenetics.com we already sell the clothes, the gym clothes for mostly males, but the female line will eventually come in the future. A lot of females have been asking me when the female clothing line will be coming out, but some of the clothing already online is actually unisex, which means males and females can wear them, but the female should usually pick an S because it's still a male size, but the shape of the clothing is also suitable for females, and that is mainly the sleeveless, the classic sleeveless shirts, most of the t-shirts, but also the new performance joggers, so don't underestimate that. And also the pricing that I notice a lot of stores put on female clothing is higher than male clothing, but we will remain at the same price we are always at, so females can get the stuff for the comparable price that males can as well. Alright guys, that was the last questions that you asked me, but I have a question for you. I've been thinking about this for a while because quite a lot of people via DMs or in comments down below the YouTube videos ask me to do a collaboration with certain people in the industry, or to come to international expos like the Olympia Expo or different Arnold Classic expos or the LA Fit Expo, but those are all like either Australia or the USA. But don't forget, I live in the Netherlands, so that's a problem for me to be able to go there. It's quite an investment to get there, to get plane tickets, to actually get the expo tickets as well, of course. Next to that, the hotel, the transport, you name it. Because I live in the Netherlands, when I do contests, that already is quite an investment. When I did the Olympia or the Arnold Classic in America, of course, I love to do that. It's my passion. So all the money that is generated by YouTube and from the Vintage Genetics clothing line, I reinvest back into the channel by going to this contest and covering it. But that's amazing that it's possible. But for me, to be able to go to all these international expos and to think about collaborating with, for example, Chris Bumstead, Callum van Moger, just guys that you mentioned that you want me to collaborate with, and a lot of other names. Just, by the way, down below, tell me who you want me to collaborate with, and perhaps it'll happen in the near future. But I've seen other channels make use of Patreon, which is something that you can set up to have people pledge money to a certain individual on a monthly basis to support them in whatever they are doing. Sometimes they just grant some money just because they support them in general without expecting anything back. But you also have things like if you increase the monthly pledge, you can actually get some personal items or personal gifts, like a shirt or a signature or a picture or like a Skype session, stuff like that. To talk about nutrition or training or tips, advice, training schedules, stuff like that. So that's all possible. But if I would set up a Patreon account, which I looked into and I already made like an introduction page just to see what it's all about, and I've seen some promising things from it. But if I would make it and give you an option to pledge $1 a month, would you do it? Or would you think he already makes enough money with YouTube and all the other stuff he does, he doesn't need it, and I don't really care about seeing him go to these international expos and to see all the fans around the world? Because for me to be able to do that, I would need some kind of investment next to what I'm already working for with the nutrition and the coaching and the videos. But all in all, that wouldn't be enough to keep traveling overseas, because that, trust me, is quite expensive if you keep doing it on a consistent basis. So if you guys would pledge $1 a month, like I have around unbelievably like 370,000 subscribers. So if I only could get 1% to pledge $1 a month, that would already give me such a high amount of money that I would be able to invest back into the channel. So let me know your thoughts. Be bluntly honest about what you think about this proposal, because I don't want to do it if you don't support the idea. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.